Good. Let's see here. Let's get the gift table before everybody.
Probably way over there. I guess okay. Okay, good, good. She requested specifically, yeah, you should see her leave request everyone says, and Mama, I just didn't know that your name out there, you know.
Hi, Karen.
Jody, I don't know if I am Jody to help you. Apparently on the she's still wearing. Oh my gosh. You're still sharing my
Staff appreciation things, but we decided that we wanted to kind of trade it off and wait till the end to do something kind of special. So anyway, the students are here today to tell you and to distribute the little item that we happen to have for you. As you know, it is our 25th year of the middle school, and we haven't really done a really huge celebration of it this year, but we felt like it was just really a neat and important thing. And so I would like to have Mr. Mitchell Pittman, and he'll tell you a little bit about what we're going to do.
It's been a while, and 3 years, all you guys have been really helpful to all of us. I'm sure I can speak for everybody here that the teachers have been really nice. And we got you a little present for the 25th anniversary, but first, if there's anybody that's been here all 25 years, we'd like for you to come up here first.
Do we have any staff members that have been here for 25 years?
We need to kneel on this one.
Go ahead and roll out.
Mr. Allard. There's a fourth one, Mr. Allard.
We tried to pick out an item that we hope that each staff member will appreciate, male and female as well. There's bag that we have that you can carry, even the guys can carry their books or homework in. And anyway, it's our middle school logo with 25 years. But I think I'm going to call names off quickly so I can be sure. If you're here, please stick your hand in the air, and that way I can make sure they're distributed and that everybody gets one, because I don't want to leave anybody out, and I don't want, to have anyone think they didn't get one. So anyway, yeah, okay, Aller. Aller, you're okay. Almond. Here. If you'll put your hand up in the air, please, just really flash it straight up so I can see.
Do it the right
Anderson. Anderson. Please put your hand straight up so I can see it. Arbacy.
He's here.
There's somewhere, I know. Annabeth. Okay, Boehner. Okay, Barnes. Mashal. Here. Okay, Baxter. Okay, Benson. Here. Okay, Bivens. Brand.
Here.
Willard.
Mitch, can I have one, please?
Wilson.
Thank you, Mitch. Okay, thank you.
Kendall and Joyce.
I know. I always joke with you.
Mr. Rowley. Not Mr. Turlow. Okay, Bob. Bob back there. Bradford. Christian Clark. Moore.
It's Mama's wife. I can't get it.
That's why I wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure everybody.
Thank you.
If we hadn't had Miss up there helping us out. So Evelyn Porter, if you come up here please quickly before we get started with all the other festivities. You might want to.
They did.
Well, this is the world's best jerk, and she was always.
That's a soda jerk, folks.
So anyway, Evelyn, you should have this nice flower since you're retiring. Since you were such a good soda jerk for us all this time. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. This is
Stunning.
I promise it. Here's your little package. Let's see, Mrs. Greer, we had something for you. This isn't for student council, this is just for me, but while I'm here, I'll just go ahead and give it to you. Is she here, Mrs. Greer? Oh, there she is. Every time those kids come to my class, end of the year, this is the world's greatest hopper, the frog hopper, of course. And this is your little gift. You'll have to open it and see what it is. Yeah. Because I think it's really special, it's really appropriate. Exactly. Well, you might there we go. That you might need a real frog And then Nancy Solers, actually, and I have this little, would you like to present Mr. Hunter? Go ahead. Come on, Mr. Hunter, we need to have you come up too. This is your nice, and it's just a lovely letter. This is for you, and this little certificate says, world's crappiest hunter, or wait a minute, is that Hunter is the world's greatest crappie fisherman.
It's been a real tough year. Yeah.
Well, you can share the tissue paper, it's okay. Rip it up.
Who did that, Nancy? Oh,
Yeah,
look at
well,
this.
there.
That's got the jig.
But on the very back, well, this says Hunter, of course, Hunter for Mr. Hunter. But on the back it says, been there, done that, gone hunting, crappie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Some of our special guests that we have with us here. We have Eva Mothersbaugh back with us, and we have Ted Patham. And then we have Mr. Revis. We have Pete Green. We have Mr. Grippy. We have a very special parent here today. Evelyn's mother and stepfather are here with us. It's Mr. and Mrs. Newmeyer, and we're so happy that you could come and share with us today. Okay, I don't think Ken Bradford has slipped in. Has he? No? Okay, well, let's begin, and I'm going to ask Mr. Griffey if you will begin first.
3 people that are leaving us this year, total 80 years of experience at Carter School. That's a lot of years. And a lot of years given to young people, and a lot of people are better for those years given. Evelyn has 30 years, and Kay has 19, and Tommy has 30 plus change, but I got it written down as 31, okay? In fact, Tommy, I think you're what, 1 month short maybe of 31? 3 months. 3 months short of 31, okay. I knew it was a partial year. In the district, Evelyn's been here 10 years, Kay has been here all 19. I believe that's right, Kay. All 19 years, and Tommy's been here the entirety of the, what I got down on the card is 31. I'm gonna call it 31. 3 months short is 31 to me, okay? And we certainly appreciate it. It's kind of special to me. I can remember back when I started and I thought about the millennium. I didn't call it the millennium then, I call it 2000, 2001, because that would be in the neighborhood of when I was ready to retire, or at least eligible to retire. Doggone, we're right up against the doorstep. And most of these people that we have here have had my two sons in school here. They've come through school, and that makes it even more special to me. I hate to see the people retire, but I also understand the many, many years of good service they've given the kids, and we appreciate that. Tommy and Evelyn were awarded their bells, which is traditionally what the Board of Education does, with a school bell with the engraved insignia on it from and to your service in Sedalia School District. Kay wasn't eligible, but Kay, this basket is from the Board of Education here in appreciation of your 19 years of service here. Okay? And good luck to all of you. Tommy, make sure those barbs are not embedded or not exposed in the back of that hat, because I'd hate to have you pulled out of your head. And leave some fish for the rest of us that still have a year or two to work. And Evelyn, don't get too wrapped up in the horse shows. Okay? Appreciate it very much.
Yes, I do.
Fallen superintendents, you know, that's always a bad thing to do, but Mr. Griffey got started off. I'll kind of say something about all three. First of all, it'd be a great feeling, believe me, when you retire. It takes you about 10 or 15 minutes to get home. You'll be adjusted by the time you get home. I was adjusted for why you got off the parking lot. After being gone 7 years, still nice to see a few faces around. Nothing's changed. Brand's sitting on the front row. He looks like he's wearing a belt today. Dressed. And it's good to see some of the other people's faces and some of the things going. Now, I'm not sure I have all the figures Mr. Griffey did, because he has the accurate. But I had Kay teaching 19, is that right, Kay? They were all in this building, right? Taught 7th grade math, and went to 6th grade math, and I presume still teaching 6th grade math. Kay was one of those teachers who did an excellent job. All I can say, thank you. You did everything great. We always ask you, you did it. I'd hate to see you retiring if I was Mr. Davis, because I'd be losing a good math teacher. I remember one time I had to call you off. It was a very unpleasant situation. I don't know if I ever handled that right or not. I hope I did. If I didn't, I'll apologize to you today, and I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I hope things go better for you. I hope you enjoy life. I hope you do everything that you want to do. I guess I could talk a little bit about Mr. Hunter. They coached football. About anything we had, girls basketball. I remember one year we were undefeated. I think you had a death in the family was going to be gone. And I was going to have to coach a girls basketball team. So I call him up to the front office and I tell him at the end of school, Coach Hunter may not be here. You're stuck with me, but with the Lord willing, he'll be here. About the time the warm-up started, he walked in. God, that was the greatest feeling I ever had. We did beat Camdenton by 1 point that night, so it turned out good after all. The other thing I always remember, every time we played Camdenton, I think your brother coached down there, and his parents lived there, and we always came home with what I call the care packages. Because they always brought stuff to send home. Food, everything. I mean, we did well when we went to Camdenton. I remember we went to Moberly one night, and the principal up there called, and he said, you know, we're going to have a little ceremony tonight. Do you mind? I said, no, because, you know, we always try to reciprocate those if they come here. What he didn't tell me was they were going to present a rose or something to everybody. I think we gave the official's grandmother one. It was at halftime of the girls' game. We looked outside. It was snowing. The weather was getting bad. And the game was close. I don't think they'd lost a game. We hadn't lost a game. I remember you had the Borton twins. One right-handed, one left-handed, and we had 3 more with them at the halftime. Finally got over. Mr. Searsgarth, those who remember him, he kept looking at his watch. He said, must be tough to slee now, isn't it? Anyway, we finally got the last half started, and we won. The boys' game, we got ready to come home. It was snowing. Searsgarth was riding with me. You just kind of lined up the telephone poles coming down the road, and that's where you went. He said, how do you know where the road is? And I said, well, there's a telephone pole there, and there's one over there. I said, we're between them. Anyway, Tommy, we did a lot of good things. I appreciate everything you did while I was principal, and I'm sure Mr. Davis and the other principals done the same for you. I hope you enjoy it. Fishing, you know, there's 2 ways to look at it. They're biting or they're not biting, but you still go anyway. So give it your best shot. Catch them all, okay? probably don't even know that's her nickname, Evelyn Porter. Worked with us at the horse show. I think she was still in high school. You had to be 16 to work at the fair. God, she was 16 for a number of years. I mean, we just kept putting down 16, saying, get up here, Effie, get up here. Then she got to be manager, and she became my boss there for about 3 or 4 years. I changed a few things, not much. Then we got her up here to teach. Been teaching history, and if I remember straight, you taught here 10 years. And you had taught 20, hadn't you, Tom, in this building? Okay. And she's done a great job. She still works with us at the fair. I think we start off this year at the fair. How many years will this be for you at the fair this year? 60, it'll be my 37th year to announce her 37th year in the office. That's close enough. And we'll have a good time at the fair, and I know Evelyn's got a lot of things she wants to do. If my memory's correct, she's probably got about a 4 Corvette that's in the garage that hasn't been run.
No, it's
So I thought maybe you were going to get that out of retirement and have a lot of fun. Anyway, we used to have a lot of fun with Evelyn, and I still do. Look forward to the horse show. Evelyn was a good teacher, worked well for us in social studies. She taught down there with Mr. Midget, and I never did know how that quite worked, but I assume they got along pretty well together. One would rub off on the other, and at least Mr. Midget had material for his sermons on Sundays. I appreciate coming back. Some of you that are new this year, some of those stories may not relate much to you. Stick around, they will as time comes. God help the 8th grade English department. Thank you.
To come today because Pete was always a very special part of our school. And since he had worked with these 3 individuals, I wanted him to come and say a few words.
Well, I can't be like Bob. I had to write down some things so I can remember. I do have awful fond memories of this building and the people here, and I come back and see all these faces. That means so much. I thought about Tom, and I thought about Evelyn, and I thought about Mrs. Greer. God, what could I say about these people? I knew them first as a teacher. And of course, as a teacher, you kind of have that bond, you know, teacher versus administrator. And then I became an assistant principal, so that kind of switched around, and they started nipping at my heels a little bit. But they are alike, all 3 of them. That's probably hard to compare to think in your mind, say, how could Tom Hunter be like Greer? But they are a lot alike. And when I say that, this is what I mean. I hope the true meaning comes out. I can remember many times when Tom would be in PE class and little bitty critters running around and hanging on over his legs, and especially Marty Miller. But Tom had the knack of making people who were not even average feel like they were the champions of the WWF wrestling federation. And I know that Tom, you know, he put kids first, and he cared a lot about them. I coached with him. I didn't know anything about football. He knew it all, and he sure made me feel like I knew something about football. I knew I didn't. I was just going along for the ride. But he was always so good with kids. He always made them feel accepted, kind of an unconditional acceptance. And the same with the other 2. I can tell you a lot of other stories about Tom. We played fast pitch softball for many, many years together. But I do remember the code, and those they will go with me forever. Evelyn had a knack for kids that were, gosh, rowdy, people who didn't really want to learn, people who didn't want to be in school, and she had a way of making them feel like, man, I want to go to Mrs. Porter's class. And for a teacher to do that, you undoubtedly have some kind of a gift to help kids believe that you want them there, and she was always at the door to welcome them. Those are the things I remember about Evelyn. It's always the ability to make kids feel accepted. I do remember some of those kids. Peter Donati, and kids like that. I remember that, you know, they would make comments to me that, you know, I feel comfortable there, or I feel safe. Safe in there. So I do commend Evelyn for that. And driving down here, I thought of all those things about Evelyn, and I could walk by her classroom, and I know that I annoyed her. But I just had the itch to kind of get back and see those kids again. So as I walked by, I'd go, can I come in? And she'd say, come on in. So I put them in the same category as putting kids first and always loving kids and having an unconditional acceptance for them. Okay, we came the same year. And this is a story I will tell, but I don't even know if you know this. But being new to the building, Mr. Rivers was my boss, and certainly I was trying to walk a straight line and make sure I was doing my job. And Kay was, this is 19 years ago. And I remember I had to sub for her. She had to go to a doctor's appointment or something. So I was about 24, 25, and I walked into her room and I saw these X's on the floor with tape. I don't know if you recall this. And I looked at all these kids and I said, hey, what's the X's on the floor for? And she said, our legs have to go in the center of those X's. I said, move them all right now. So we shuffled them all around. Just to be honored. And I left. I don't know if she ever picked up on that or not. I apologize. But what I do remember about Kay is, my gosh, any teacher that would give kids her home phone number and allow them to call nights and weekends above and beyond the call of duty. And I know that even I asked my son Caleb about, I told him I was going to do this, and I remember her as my math. She was really good. And again, that unconditional love and acceptance. So when I put them in the same category, that's kind of what I mean. I don't mean Tommy's anything like Kay. Anything like Evelyn, but they shared a common denominator, and that was tremendous love for kids. I wish you all well. I in a few short years, well, not short, 7 years, I'm going to be in the same boat, and I hope I have somebody that feels the same way about me as I feel about you all. I'm not a literary person, but I did run across something I thought really applied to these three people. Hope I can get through it without muffling or crying or anything. This is dedicated to Kay, Tommy, and Evelyn. It says, I don't know who the author is. I just found it in a book, and it had no author. So I'm not taking credit for it. It says, there is a road each one of us travels, and each person walks it alone. From the first step we take of the dawning, till a distant voice bids us come home. And each step that we take on that journey shapes the path of the next day to come, for we fashion the road that we travel in the darkness or light of the sun. And only a few understand it. To only a few it is known that in smoothing the pathway of others, we fashion our own stepping stones. So when we meet someone like Tom, Evelyn, and Kay, whose life has enriched all the lives it has met, we point in our pride to that passage, too golden to ever forget. We will never forget you. Thank you for everything you did.
The introductions a few minutes ago, and I forgot to introduce Kay's husband, Jerry Greer. Harold Klein would like to say a few words about our three retirees.
Okay, I've got a folder here I'm going to work from. I'm going to say quite a bit. I'd like to say a few words about each of our three retirees today. And since I've known Tommy the longest, I'm going to start with him. Tommy, we've been colleagues since way back at SC. Now, for a lot of you people, you probably think I mean Smith Cotton. No, I mean Striped College. And you new folks probably don't know about Striped College, but it was a little school out south of town. It was a two-room country school originally, and the city annexed it, the 200 district, and that's where I began my teaching career. And Tommy came a couple of years later after it was taken in by the 200 district, and he was teaching PE at Striped College and at Jefferson. And our principal was Mrs. Peoples, as you well remember. And I always will remember how good Tommy was to take a double session of PE classes for two of the teachers, so we would have a double time off. He would take two classes at once for us. He did that many, many times because we didn't have time off except for PE or music. And so he was always very good to us about that. And then when the junior high was changed into a middle school, Tommy came over and I came just right before that. And as a matter of fact, I think I came the same year that Kay came and Pete, 19 years ago when I came. And of course Tommy was the PE teacher then in the 6th grade. And one time, I'll never forget, Tommy and Lonnie Schott and I rode together to a night class at Warrensburg. And that was an experience for me, I'll tell you. Anyway, they tell all these stories, you know, when we go up and just have my ears on one side and then the other. They always put me in the middle. I don't know why. But one night I asked Tommy, I said, you know, Tommy, I've known you all these years, and I always wondered what it was that made you want to be a PE teacher. And he said, you know, I had 10 top reasons that I wanted to be a PE teacher. And so he started listing them for me. And I did remember them, Tommy.
I know.
I have a good memory. His first reason was, he said, all the other good jobs were already taken. And then he said, well, he flunked the Army physical and he had to take a lower paying job. And then he said, you know, I was working as a taster at Budweiser, but they cut that job because they were, you know, cost-cutting things. So. And then he said, you know, after I went to college and got my degrees, he said I was overqualified for an administrative position. And then he said, you know, there's no salary cap on my job like there is in the NBA or the NFL. So that's one thing, I can just keep going. That was a long time ago, Tommy. And then he said, I get a lot of respect for all the from all the Little League umpires. And of course, he said that the pay that I'm getting as PE teacher is much better than all the other positions at his school with similar responsibilities. And he said, you know, this job that I'm doing in PE is very structured and routine. He said, I never have to adapt to any kind of changes, except when Mr. Cal, Mrs. Edwards, Mrs. Shelby, Mr. Davis, or anybody else runs him out of the gym, then he has to adapt. And of course, he has the largest office in this whole building. You know, he's got the whole gym. He has a chair and a little student desk. And lastly, Tommy, you deserve all the respect from all of us for all of these years. Congratulations on your retirement. Okay, I've known you, I guess, ever since you started here, and I started here. That first year that I was here is kind of a blur now, but we all made it through. And of course, you taught math in the 7th grade and 6th grade, and she said the grade levels don't matter, it's all relative. And over the years, Kay, you've worked with thousands and thousands of kids, and you've helped them along the way so that math is just something that they know instinctively. They don't have trouble multiplying, dividing, or whatever the case may be. It makes it easier for them as they go along in life. And she told me then that she could write a book about all the excuses that kids have given her over the years for not having their homework. And Kay, here are some of those excuses that you told me about one time. One kid said, I accidentally divided by 0 and my paper burst into flames. And then Johnny said, I couldn't do my homework because it was Isaac Newton's birthday yesterday. And one kid said, I could only get arbitrarily close to my textbook. I couldn't actually reach it. And another person said, I have the proof, but there isn't room to write it in the margin. Another one said, I have a solar-powered calculator, and it was cloudy last night. And of course, I locked the paper in my mom's trunk, but somehow a dog got it and ate it. And of course, I couldn't figure out whether I am the square of -1 or I is the square root of -1. See, you're not laughing because this is math talk. And then one kid said, I took time to snack on a donut and a cup of milk, and I spent the rest of the night trying to figure out which one I'm supposed to donut. And then, of course, you know, this is common. She hears this every day, even from my grandson. I could have sworn I put the homework in my math book, but this morning I couldn't find it. Kay, we hope you have a very, very happy retirement. Do all the craft work you like to do, and we certainly will miss you here at the middle school. And of course, Evelyn for many years in our association together in Delta Kappa Gamma. And then, of course, when she came to work here, I knew she had worked all the horse shows with Mr. Revis. And before that, she taught in Otterville for many, many years. And she did want to come here to SMS because she knew we had a wonderful staff, a wonderful principal, good administration, and so finally that wish was granted 10 years ago. And she's been such a pleasure to work with. I'm going to miss my morning hugs, Evelyn. She comes through and gives me my hug every day and works for everyone and does so many nice things. She probably has wings growing out of her back, having to put up with Mr. Bradford and Mr. Hethel and Mr. Dorelli. So maybe Evelyn, it's time. But I think probably these gentlemen have done a better job because of you prodding them on, and of course the teams have been very well received, I think. And she's taught this magic 30 years now, and I told her she's too young to retire. She shouldn't do it, but she didn't listen to me. And so anyway, I wanted to know what was in store for her for the future. And there was a fortune teller out here the other night at the Smith Cotton's graduation. So I slipped in and went to this fortune teller. And she told me that Evelyn would be okay. The heart problems that she had a few years ago was fine. She would live to be an old woman. And she said, also she told me this little poem to tell it to Evelyn so that she would not wonder what was going to happen to her. And so Evelyn, this is the poem. There was an old lady named Evelyn who knocked at the pearly gates for admission to the fold. Her hands were rough and full of scars, and her face was wrinkled and old. She knocked a while, and St. Peter came, and he looked at this awful sight. Before him stood the most wretched thing ever seen in day or night. What have you done, St. Peter asked, for admission up here? And she says, oh, I've taught for many a year at the Sedalia Middle School. Many a year. So St. Peter opened the pearly gates, and he told Gabriel to ring the bell. And then he turned to Evelyn and said, you're welcome here, my dear. You had your time. I'm not going to say it. All of you will miss you all.
Well, Tommy, this time I would like for you to come up here and sit in our chair. Because we have someone that would like to make a
From the hip here. Not very much written down or anything. Just, about Tom, the way I kind of see it is, it's kind of like Michael Jordan when he retired a couple years ago at the top of his game. He's retiring, he's still a good teacher. He has a law suit, he does a real good job with the kids.
Coming back, though.
Well, we may call him in a couple of years and see. But no, I wish him the best. I think he's pretty much a genius at trying to, fitting all this fishing time with his busy teaching schedule, getting away with it. And, real credit, to creativity and use of your resources, I think. I do have to tell one teaching story, or fishing story. Most of you heard about it in Texas last year, 2 years ago. I had a big boat break down.
Hey, Mary, you hadn't heard me yet, too.
They all come out sooner or later. But that boat runs out of gas, and they're all walking down the bank, and there's you and Bill Day and Warren Day and somebody else, I don't know. So they're walking down the bank, Tom's leading the way, and he falls into quicksand on the bank. He's down to his waist, so he can't get out. You know, I mean, if he was by himself, he'd still been. So, I mean, they finally got him out. They took pictures and everything, and Warren's got those, and I'll try to get those. But for your retirement present, I thought, and I couldn't come up with it. So, anyways, what I got for you is some shorts to wear if you go fishing. Put 'em on. Go in the quicksand. This will hold you up. Seriously though, I think you're size small. I'm not my girl. Seriously, you will be missed. You know, my brief 5 years here, just working with you, teaching, has been real nice. Kids coming up will be shortchanged, not having the experience they have as a teacher. So, wish you the best. And I'm for the fishing
Thanks, Brad. Everybody here, and I really have some true friends here, and that's the way the world should be. Is everybody should be friends. Thank you.
Tommy, this is from all of us. I wish it had $100 bills and 20 and whatever else it's wrapped with. But we hope that you'll enjoy it. And I didn't come up with this idea on my own. It came from Mary Ann. Okay? So I hope you like it. It was very difficult to wrap.
Thank you.
Okay, Kate, over there. I think Mary Ann has,
Well, little doggerel English teachers, I know you've had it this year, but one more will kill you. For sure it is a fact that Kay Greer is a class act. I certainly could hear it all when I was right across the hall. Whether it be a decimal or a fraction, Kay can spring those kids into action. But she often is quite tough when she tries to strut her math stuff. She teaches the rainbows to add and subtract, to work together and interact, to try to master the social graces, and if they don't, she's in their faces. But the kids love her so, even when she's telling them no, that they can't cheat or hit or bite or pass gas, burp, or even fight. She's a special lady, a teacher sublime. I'm glad to call her a colleague of mine. I appreciate her giving me all her math work so I wouldn't teach it like a great big jerk. It's time, though, for her to take a rest. She really has been the best. And now anytime she can take a nap or hold a grandchild on her lap, thanks to you, Kay, our very good friend. But this isn't really the end. It's the beginning of new things to do. We give our best wishes to Jerry.
Donna?
I need my whole team. Okay. She's been my mentor this year, and I really should know I'd be this emotional about it. I couldn't ask for anyone better. She's great.
Hey, I've been fortunate to work with Kay for over 5 years, and I've learned a lot. And one of the things, well, there's really three things that kind of stand out in my mind that I'll always remember about Kay and her relationship with her students. And one of them is she insisted on them doing their daily assignments every day. And if they didn't do their daily assignment every day, she had a sheet that she would send home, and they would have to get it signed and bring back. And I used to marvel at what she would go through to get these children to do their daily assignments. And I thought, man, that is a really good teacher. And she stuck with that all the way through. She still does it to this day. And another thing I admired about Kay is that she finishes a textbook. And she'll go in there and just make sure that she paces everything throughout the year. And when the year's over, she's finished the textbook. And that's, anybody who's ever taught math before knows that's a real achievement, to finish a math textbook. So I admired that about her. And another thing I totally agreed with her about is that I hate social studies. And I hate teaching social studies. I kind of like reading it, but one thing she would always say is it's just not my thing. And I can totally agree. In fact, we're unanimous on Rainbow Connection about that. We all hate teaching social studies. And I better be careful. Mr. Griffey's looking at me kind of evil. But it is, it is a unique person that you can run into who can really put the pressure on the kids and have the kids really still love her. And, if I would go down and call those parents, get them by the nape of the neck like she's done many times, and march them down there to the telephone, I'd see her heading down the hall with her dress flaming behind her. The parents would have been up here to skin me alive. In fact, I had a couple of bad experiences earlier in my teaching career, which, kind of made me get a little gun shy in that area. But she has just really stuck with her guns and really done a thorough job of it. There's many things I'm going to miss about her. I know when we have our team strategy meeting, we'll go in there and they'll eat pretzels. And I kind of backed off of eating pretzels because they're so salty and they're full of sodium. And so I would try to eat something, that wouldn't kill me the next couple of days. So with Kay and them, they chomp on these pretzels, and anybody that has a problem with someone crunching around them would have gone totally insane. Because my granddad used to have hogs, and he'd feed them cold. And this is louder than that. Anyway, I sometimes think that they've been talking to Missy to find out what irritates me. So I think that she really needs a pretzel to remember us by, and maybe this will keep her going for a while until she comes back to visit us. And when she leaves this year, one thing that's always going to stick in my mind that I'll never forget, and I'm going to miss next year, truly, is at the beginning of the year in the first semester, I'm so used to hearing her say, okay, now kids, if you don't have your assignment, now who are you going to call? Okay, now what's my husband's name? And I've heard this so many times, that I've got wearing my ears for it. And what she says is, Jerry Greer. Now, what is it? Jerry Greer. What is it again? Jerry Greer. We hear that for a semester, and it tapers off the last semester, when you're totally, blown out of your mind by it. But, it's really, if he ever runs for political office, he's every kid, every parent, everybody in Pettis County knows who her husband is, and where he lives and what his phone number is. So when next year comes, and when we're wishing that Kay was with us again so we can enjoy her, her energy and her creativity and her enthusiasm, which is kind of contagious, we're going to call Jerry Greer.
Okay, it has been an honor to be your teammate. I don't think, though, that I will ever look at a frog again without thinking. For those of you that don't know, there's 1 week out of the year that frogs go jumping across the Rainbow Connection. You're teaching along, and here comes a frog jumping across, and probably they even escape into some of the other areas. So we wanted you to have something to remember our team by. And when you come to help sub and to be with us, please bring chocolate.
Well, Kay, they've said it all, but you've been great to work with. And this is a little something from the Rainbow Connection to hold pretzels. Now, since we won't all be together and strategy and all that stuff, everybody is invited to Kay's home to enjoy pretzels from the Rainbow Connection.
And Kay, from the entire staff here, would like to present this gift to you.
Evelyn? Want to get a little bigger.
We have a poem for Evelyn. It was inspired by the Battle of the Republic. That's the Untouchable singing. Yeah, right. And no
nobody, Joyce and Martin do not want to claim responsibility for this poem. It is written by me, and it is much more doggerel than anything written by Mary Ann. We are not going to sing, nor are we going to attempt to read this to the music, so that was just the inspiration. Evelyn Porter is a teacher of a rare and special breed. If it's history, she has all the knowledge students need. She loves politics and wants to see her candidates succeed. She's quite a history buff.
Oh, we'll miss you, Evelyn. We'll really miss you, Evelyn. We can't do it without you, Evelyn. Why not come back next year?
If the rules are broken, Evelyn will be aboard. She sends them to the office if they cause any discord. She is searching out gum from the cheeks where it is stored. She is our gum warden.
Oh, we'll really miss you. What can we do without you, Evelyn? Why don't you come back next year?
Evelyn works the horse show at the state fair every year. She always eats heart healthy so her problems don't reappear. She can do anything with her husband Robert near. She is a heart healthy fiend.
Oh, we'll really miss you. Yes, we'll really miss you, Evelyn. We can't do it without you, Evelyn. Why not come back next year?
Evelyn is a good friend who will help you if she can. She shares her good ideas and always has a plan. She works to help all teachers. That's why we're her big fans. She is a friend indeed.
Oh, we'll miss you. Yes, we will really miss you, Evelyn. We can't do it without you, Evelyn. Why not come back? I'm not done yet. I got something to say. I had a dream the other night. Oh, no. And I woke up and I was at St. Peter's Gate. So he takes me around. We're touring heaven. I come up and I see Tommy Hunter. And he's with this mean woman. So I asked St. Peter, I said, St. Peter, what's the story here? He said, well, let me tell you. He said, Tommy Hunter was really bad on earth. This is his punishment up in heaven. I said, okay. So we kept walking on. He's showing me all the places, birds up there and everything. We walked on. We get to Kay Greer. So I get to Kay. I said, well, what's the story here? He says, Kay was real bad on earth. I said, what? Are you sure? He said, yep, she was real bad, so this is her punishment. I said, what's her punishment? He said, this guy is mean. Nobody can stay with him. Kay's got to stay with him the rest of her life. I said, man, that's tough. So I come up, I see Evelyn Porter, and I'm happy and excited. She made it! Miss Porter made it. And then she's with this handsome man. I said, I can't believe this. Miss Porter's with a handsome man, and she made it into heaven. So I asked St. Peter, I said, St. Pete, how did she make it up here, and what's going on? She goes, well, let me tell you. That guy she's with, he was real bad on her. This is his punishment.
Oh, shoot. Oh, no.
I've always said that, well, most of you know that I taught at Otterville, which some years wasn't the best experience. And I've always kept asking Bob, please, don't you have a place for me up there? And finally, he said yes, and this is the most fantastic staff and working conditions. The whole system is wonderful. It's been great to me, and I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to miss you guys.
Short timer here, being only here for a year, I don't have the history or the track record that a lot of y'all do, but my short year has been very much enriched by these three people. These three people have been willing to come share with me their thoughts on situations around the school. Evelyn and her gum patrol, and we have laughed about that because, in fact, at one time this year, her team had made a button that said gum warden on it, so we knew that she would take care of the gum. Kay is directly responsible for the shelf in the 6th grade girls' restroom. She made a statement one day, if I could get that done, that would be a a real plus, and we were able to get that done. So, and I think somebody even carried something in there, set it on the shelf, and it disappeared. One of the teachers, because they were used to carrying it into the stalls, and they saw the shelf, and they laid their lesson plan book or grade book up on it, and it disappeared. Somebody saw it, picked it up, and brought it, and turned it in. But the shelf down there is a direct result there. Tommy, we ought to just let you take that desk out of there, because I don't know if anybody can sit at that little desk better than you have and still control all the kids. But you three are going to be greatly missed. The door will always be open for you to come back at any time and visit and come see the kids. The kids are going to miss you. I know I said the other night that at 6th grade they presented some flowers to Kay. I said, this is what teaching's all about. Kay Greer, Tommy Hunter, and Evelyn Porter are what teaching is about. It's what it is. And they're here not for the money. If they were for the money, they would have left a long time ago. They're here for the love of kids. What I would say about the three of them is they have exhibited high expectations. Those kids know that they've got to behave, that they've got to learn, and we're not going to accept anything less. And I think as a teaching staff, if we would embrace those philosophies, all of our kids would be better. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the year that you've given to us, and come see us. Enjoy your retirement.
After listening to quite a few speakers, Scott and I towards the tail end, that I don't think there's anything that I can say that can express to these three as best as some of you guys have known them for a long time. I'm going to say something as far as a personal view to all three of the retirees, and then I'm going to say something as a parent. As far as Tommy and Kay, my daughter had them two for a teacher. Pete said best about you, Kay. I'll never forget one night, Devin came home, and Barbie started to learn what the middle school attitude's all about, especially this year in 7th grade. I'm sitting back laughing now. But Devin came home, and her grades wasn't doing too good in math, and not because of Kay. And I tell every parent that calls, because it's really kind of strange anymore in today's public perception as far as our kids. They get upset when Kay calls home because of concern of their child. Kay calls, and not a lot of teachers do that. I didn't do that as much as she did. I think Jim said that too. But Devin was doing a problem or something, and Barb couldn't figure it out. He knew I couldn't figure it out. So Devin said, well, it was about 9 o'clock at night. Devin said, well, I'm going to call Miss Greer. I'm like, well, what the hell you are? I'm not calling no teacher at 9 o'clock at night. And this is how poor I've been around here, and it's not the lack of respect that I have for her, but I don't think you need to call any teacher at 9 o'clock. And she swore up and down that Mrs. Greer gave every one of her students the right to call her. And that's the first thing I did that next day when I came in and asked Mrs. Greer, and she was right, and I think that's something special. PG in on that. I don't know, as a professional in the office and as a colleague and as a parent, that's something special. Tommy, if he gets a chance to rib you, he'll rib you. He stung me with the dirtiest, meanest joke. And I've had a lot of jokes on my side, my nose, and everything. You want to tell him that joke you stung me with? No. He will tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the Arlington reception. By the way, Mr. Griffey, you and the central office are invited. At the golf match, not the office. Not at the park. We talk about guys like you guys. But Tommy, too, special around Devin. As far as the teacher, Evelyn was never my daughter's teacher. Of course, I couldn't promote from 6th grade to 8th grade. But you're the type of teacher, I call you kind of the old school type teacher. That's kind of, I worked with a lady that I think she taught over here for a while, Delta Russell. And I have a lot of admiration for Delta. And you're kind of in that same ballpark. All three, let me talk from a personal opinion. 2 years ago, I was under the gun. I guess I put more pressure on myself as taking this new position as an assistant principal. I found out your term's assistant principal is flunky, and there are a lot of other terms that I've heard. But you three and a lot of other ones too. Everybody's been very supportive of me. Since you three are going out the door, I want to say thank you as far as in my position, making my job a lot better. A lot of respect, and that's the word that I think I've heard from everybody in here, respect with a capital R. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm sure. Or you were.
Yes.
In more ways than one, right? GQ made 2 mistakes last night, didn't he? I call him Mr. GQ, and he made 2 mistakes last night speaking. How many caught it? They're making fun of me saying honor roll.
Back to the important people. First of all, I'll say I will be brief. In my short time that I've been here, I have appreciated working with these 3 excellent teachers. And you are excellent teachers and excellent people. I can say Mrs. Greer is by far the most conscientious, caring teacher I've ever been around. I've never seen anybody with her commitment to every single one of her kids that she has. So that's a real testament to you. Mr. Hunter, done a great job. I don't see how you do it every day. Your caring attitude, your sense of humor has been everything to everybody. We appreciate everything you've done. And Ms. Porter, from the gum to the shorts to everything else, you've helped us out a lot. I can think of 3 things with each of you. When each of you go to heaven, and you're sitting there, or you're standing at the pearly gates. We've talked about the pearly gates a lot today. I can foresee Mr. Hunter standing there, or after he's already been there, he's sitting at a large, huge desk. Mahogany or some nice big chair sitting back. Right next to him is a pond, a basket about this big, 14-inch, pound-and-a-half crappie just flying in. Just going right in. He doesn't even have to do anything. I can see Mrs. Greer sitting there. Kids coming up 2 days in advance of when their homework's due. Here's your homework. And last but not least, I can foresee Mrs. Porter coming to the pearly gates. There's mist everywhere, and all of a sudden she comes up in this red dress. Everything opens up. There's a beautiful red dress. She goes to a closet. There's red dresses all on both sides of her closet. Y'all don't get that. I'll explain it to you. I asked Mrs. Porter to sub a lot last year, and she did it gracefully every time. And she made so much money, she went out and bought a red dress. She has a red dress. She'll be full of red dresses. Thank you all for everything that you've done. Thanks.
Beside me for a minute, please. You have it. You know, I think Mr. Patrick said the word that I was going to use for all 3 of these retirees. Caring. Caring is the most important thing that you can have for your students. You can be the greatest educator and know the skills, but if you do not care for your students and really give them the attention that they truly need, whether they are from the highest to the lowest, then you really have nothing. And these 3 have the caring they need, and they will always have it for the rest of their life, because that's the kind of persons that they really are. And I love all 3 of them in a very special way. I have them up here, and Tommy's hungry. We'll let Tommy start first, okay? Do our life. I should say, anyone else want to say anything before we let him start eating? Okay. I will say one other thing. I want to thank the social committee and everyone that has helped me this year prepare all of these things that we have had. Thank you very much.